There
Hi,
you are. Can you hear me okay?
I do hear you.
You're a little soft. Can you turn up
Okay,
volume maybe or
that's as loud as I get.
let
Can you
me
hear me?
barely, let me see if I turn mine up. All right, I'm back. I don't know. Try again. I could barely hear you for some reason. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little.
Okay, you're better. It's my internet's not all that great, but I think we're here, we're set, and I think we'll get started. So, hello, my friends. This is Tyra Jarvis with Keffi Coaching, and I'm here today with my friend and fellow coach, Kelly Sayers Fox. And we're going to be talking about fear and the fact that we all have fear. And I think the difference or the distinction between any of us is how we've developed some awareness around fear and how it impacts us and how we harness it to actually have the life that we live. Before we get started with that, let me just tell you that I am a coach and mentor, and I work with women primarily in the second half of their life that are seeking more freedom, fulfillment, and fun every day as they play out this last 2 quarters of their life. And I love the work that I do. And if I can help you, or if you have any questions for me, feel free to check me out on social media as well as on my website. And my guest today is someone that I've known for a few years. And we're part of the same community called Thriving Women in Business, who our friend Katerina Rando hosts. And I've been a guest on her podcast before, and I was introduced to the most incredible resource on fear, Rhonda Britton. And she has this amazing book. But up until this last week, I've only known of Rhonda through Kelly and her mom. They have a business together, a coaching business called Fearless Generations. And they do a lot of work with Rhonda's stuff. And I've been in Kelly's book club. I've done some different programs with Kelly and her mom. And as I said, I've been on her podcast. And the reason we're here today is because I'm actually going to be on their podcast next Monday. And I wanted everybody that chooses to listen to this video to know a little bit more about the incredible work they do, because as far as I'm concerned, this is the best work that anybody has ever done on fear. And if anybody has an opportunity to find out about Rhonda or work with Kelly and Terry, I highly recommend that you do that. So, Kelly, welcome.
Thank you.
And why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about you, how you kind of got into this topic of fear, how you found Rhonda, and possibly how you and Terry have decided to make this a core element of your business.
Yeah, so I came to came to Fearless Living because of my own experience. I was looking for something to help me to better navigate my life. And I found Rhonda through a program on the TV called Starting Over. It was a what do you call it? A reality show where 6 women lived in a house. They had 2 life coaches, and one of those life coaches was Rhonda. And they did a mall tour across America, and I was living in Georgia at the time. They came.
Wow, Kelly, I'm a little bit paused here, so let's see what we need to do to get this back up. I'm shutting everything down here just in hopes that it frees up something. Can you hear me at all? Huh, this has never happened before. Let's see. Morning, Victor. Just ran into some technology glitches here. Let me see what I need to do to bring Kelly back up. Well, for anyone else that's joined in here, I have a guest today. It's Kelly Sayer Fox from Fearless Generations. And we were about to get into this topic on fear. And let me see if she possibly might come back on here in a second. What Kelly was talking about is how she became introduced to a lady by the name of Rhonda Britton. And Rhonda has an incredible life story of recovery from fear. And it was just really compelling to me. And the work that I did with Kelly was we did a book club at one point where we met on Saturday mornings and we went through a few of the chapters in the book. And then I've been on their podcast, Fearless Generations, which I'm getting ready to appear with them again on Monday, August 1st. It'll be at 9 p.m. Pacific time. And their program is based on 12 steps to freedom. And step 11 is passion, which is a key element of the work that I do. It's my name, Kefi Coaching, is the Greek word for passion. And I also, my dragonfly represents, to me anyway, transformation and passion in transformation. So we'll be looking a little bit more at that. But why I chose this topic today, not only just because of the podcast, but let me see if I got, yay, she's coming back in. Okay. Huh. It says they can't join at this time for some reason. Let me see what else I can do. Well, it's not letting me add her, so I'll have to proceed without her. One of the things that caused this to be top of mind for me today is because Rhonda was hosting a free 5-day challenge from fear to freedom, or 5 days freedom to fear. And I just completed the 5th day. Tonight will be the completion session. And I found her discussion of the topics and the exercises really key. So here's what I would like you to know about fear. First of all, the brain has one purpose, and that's to keep us safe. That's to keep us safe from prehistoric dinosaurs, from COVID, and those would be physical threats, but also from emotional threats of embarrassment, rejection, kind of fear of raising your hand. I mean, even my granddaughter's getting ready to go into 3rd grade, and she's scared because she doesn't know what the classroom's going to look like. She doesn't know who her teacher's going to be. She doesn't know who's going to be in her class. I mean, it starts very, very early. But what's challenging is the brain reacts to physical threats, which could be an assault of some kind or running from a burning fire, to the same as it does emotional threats. And, I started to get really kind of flippant and say, fear stands for false evidence appearing real. But in reality, the body views all threats from a fearful place, and they're all real, right? You have the same physical sensations, heart palpitation. Maybe you start to perspire, or you start to get anxiety or whatever. So what was interesting in this 5-day workshop with Rhonda was that everybody has fear. The brains work the same way, whether it's physical or emotional. And the difference between people that have been successful despite fear are people that actually recognize it as quickly as possible. Well, wait a minute, that's fear showing up here to keep me safe. And you can have a dialogue that says, oh, I got this, don't worry about it, you don't need to worry about me. At the same time, what happens is the longer you go without recognizing fear, you start to take on natural responses that are pretty much unique to you. I mean, we share some of them, but it could be and remember, the brain is going to either freeze, it's going to be fight or flight or freeze, right? So you could be paralyzed in action. You could be procrastinating. You could be a perfectionist. You could be getting ready to get ready. All these things that kind of keep you in the brain's mind safe because you haven't stepped out into this area that has this apparent threat to it. And so you want to recognize your responses and then really get deep and recognize the feelings that you have. Let me see if I can respond to her. Oh, she says it's her internet not working. Let me see if I can try to bring her back in again. This might work. Anyway, so for me, it's when I'm procrastinating or when I'm not in action or when I'm paralyzing or when I'm trying to do it right, or I'm afraid I'm not going to do it right, or I'm going to, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So those kinds of things keep you stuck in the brain's mind, keep you safe. And when that happens, you're not really in the action that you think you are. You're not as powerful as you think you are. And so how do you, figure out what you do with these negative feelings? And I think the part that was most interesting to me this week was when she talked about these self-destructive behaviors. So let's just say that, when fear strikes and anything overindulgent, any of the habits overindulgent could be a response to fear. Let's say that overeating, let's say. So a healthy dessert would be 2 cookies, but a fear response might be 6 cookies. But a self-destructive behavior might be sitting there and eating the whole box of cookies, right? So been there, done all of that. It could be drinking. I love, bourbon with ginger beer, right? And if it's sitting in the refrigerator, or maybe a bottle of wine, I have a glass. Why can't I stop at one? If I have to look at that behavior and go, what am I avoiding by hiding in this area where I'm overindulging myself to the point of being self-destructive? Anyway, so I'm not somebody that over exercises or overworks out. I wish I was. But anyway, so I thought that was pretty powerful. And Rhonda has a few things coming up that I want to be able to talk about, but Kelly's trying to respond to me via chat here. So I'm gonna relay some of the messages from her. Basically fear is tricky, and you can be so empowered when you know what it's doing and what it's saying to you. And it's really about shining a light on it and not letting the time run out in that place where fear is a factor. And so the sooner you can shine a light on it, recognize the behaviors, and then choose another action, that's how you harness fear. So I am going to see one more time. Nope, not letting me add a guest. So that was a best laid plans, and I guess improvising is the way to go. So what I want you to know about fear is that we all have it. The brain's physiological response to fear is a natural phenomenon of the body. It's one of the miracles. But living in a different world now, we have to really understand what triggers fear in us and how to shine a light on it and choose more constructive behaviors that are more in alignment with what it is that you really want to do or be about. And when you do that, you'll actually not be so disempowered in fearful situations, and you'll actually retain your power, harness that power, and use it to create something, a miracle for yourself, right? And one of the challenges that we have about COVID is, in the early days of my coaching, I used to say we don't have to worry about saber-toothed tigers or tyrannosauruses or alligators or whatever anymore. However, the debilitating effects of COVID and sheltering in place affected all of us a little bit differently with fear, because you can get very, very comfortable sheltering in now and not want to push out or not really recognize that social engagement is a big part of who we are. So you want to look at what was the real effect of COVID on you, okay? And then shine a light on it, recognize if it's true or fear-based, and if it's a fear-based that you can control, find an action, however small it is, within your own safety parameters, to get out and about a little bit more and not be reckless, do whatever you need to do that's comfortable, but recognize that that environment, the fear of a global pandemic, which was real, and it had physical effects on people and people we cared about and loved ones. But now, whether we're really in a post-pandemic world or not, there's going to be latent or, residual effects of that. And you want to really look at the effect that it's having on you. For me, I'm a widow. I live at home. Sheltering in place for me re-experienced my loss because people were home with their partners, but I wasn't. And that was very uncomfortable for me, as well as I think it was for others that were widowed or widowers. But we got through it. But my business was always virtual if I wanted it to be. But I loved the social interaction of meeting people in person in coffee shops and going to networking luncheons and going to network events. And that social cutoff for me has been pretty profound and very disempowering, if you will. And so I look forward to the few things that are starting to come back on the calendar that is allowing me to go out and about and meet people, because life is so much easier for me when I can engage socially and I can connect with new people and we can decide if we want to, partner together or work together. Thanks, Kelly. I really appreciate that. Sorry about the technical issues. I just think it's just kind of the way it is these days. So anyway, I'm excited about this topic. What I mentioned is that I am going to be guesting on Kelly and Terry's podcast next Monday, 9 p.m. Pacific time. It's Fearless Generations podcast. They teach in their programs 12 steps to freedom. And the 11th step is passion. And as I mentioned, passion is really important to me. And that actually gets to be the one that we're going to talk about on Monday night. So I would encourage you, number one, to check out Fearless Generations, to check out the podcast on Monday night, to hear me and Kelly and Terry go on and on about passion and fear and freedom. And then I would also encourage you to check out Rhonda Britton. If fear is something that you're grappling with, we have 2 certified fearless living coaches right in our Northern California area. They're fabulous. They offer a lot of great tools. Rhonda's website, her book, it's very well written, and her story is very compelling. And you get to see how an incident, a tragic incident that happened to her at 14 and ruled her life for a few decades before she actually got to say enough is enough. And then she's taken that work and made it her life's work. And she is going to actually have a live in-person workshop in October, October 28th to the 30th, 3 days in person with Rhonda. Kelly's going to be there helping to facilitate it. I have a link if you're interested and you want to register. We'd love to have you do that. So go to www.fearlessliving.org. Check out Rhonda's resources. Check out Fearless Generations, as well as their podcast. And go ahead and check me out too, tyrajarvis.com. I have a free audio program called The Fulfillment Formula, and you can bet figuring out a way to deal with your fear is going to be something that you're going to definitely want to do. So I hope you, despite the technical glitches, we continued without hopefully too many hiccups. And I'd look forward to hearing from you. Put a comment if you like this topic. Again, fear affects all of us. The only difference is some people have figured out how to not let it disempower them, and how they figured out to recognize their triggers, recognize their responses, recognize their destructive behaviors, and stepped above that to choose their power and choose freedom, and being comfortable enough in uncertainty to choose freedom every time. So with that, this is Tyra Jarvis with Kefi Coaching. Thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. And look forward to hearing from you again soon. Let's see here. Please let me know if you would like more about the Fearless Foundation workshop. Yeah, we'll definitely, Kelly and I will be partnering on getting as many people as we can to that October workshop. I got a chance to see a few live broadcasts. I'm looking forward to tonight with Rhonda. It'll be a live broadcast. So being in the same room with her, tackling fear in the real world is going to be really, really powerful. So thanks, Kelly. Appreciate you joining digitally here for sure. And look forward to talking more about this with you guys on Monday night. So thanks again, everybody. Take care. Live fearlessly.